This PSA was brought to you by the Peter G Show.
You may have second thoughts after the show.
Don't drink the Foster. We're really talented. We should get Oscars.
Just pick out a car, for Christ's sake.
No, my name is Peter. Yeah, I want. Here's good.
Yeah.
Madam Perry.
I need to get back in the genie bottle.
Louis from Pennsylvania, you're on. He likes it. It's showtime. I'm Peter G, and you're getting ready to watch my show right now.
Peter G Show, Peter G Show, divorced dad, single dad, divorced dad, single dad, Peter G Show.
Oh yeah, it's Wednesday, back in the saddle. It's good to be back. How the hell is everybody? It is hot, Southern California. Sure, it's hot in other parts of the country too. At least you're not shoveling snow. Hope everybody's doing well. Life of Peter G, the Peter G Show, right here, right now, every Wednesday, like clockwork, God willing. Going to be a great show tonight. Hope everybody's doing well. I said that already though, but I really do. It's always a good thing. Tonight, it's going to be a good show. I have California Longshoreman Matthew Myers on the show. I've been wanting to talk about this stuff with the shipping and all these crises that we're having all along the coasts and supply and demand and all that stuff. And tonight we're going to talk about that. And I'm going to be real glad to touch base on it. He's going to be here. We're going to talk about all the pros and cons, the myths, the facts, what's going on, what's really not going on, media, how they twist things and really screw us up, mess with everybody's heads. And you believe it. But that's going to be interesting tonight. But that's what we'll be talking about tonight, basically, amongst a few other things. But without further ado, I want to bring on, because we've been off for the past couple of weeks, but I want to bring on to this show the third ring of Ringling Brothers. I want to bring on the Cosmic Puff of Cloud 9. I want to bring on the Psychodoozy Man of the Desert, your friend and mine, ladies and gentlemen.
Mr. Peter G, always good to see you. Mr. Peter G, it's the Peter G Show. How are you, Peter?
Oh, I'm good. It's did you enjoy your couple of weeks off?
Oh yes, I did. Man, but it's hot, man. Hot in the desert.
How hot is it?
It's so hot. What did the air conditioner say to the man?
I do not know.
I'm your biggest fan. No. I know.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm getting a telepathic. Wait. Don't quit your day job.
The jokes are free, babe.
Oh my god. Okay. Anything on your mind, or I'm going to remind people about the podcast and all that kind of stuff.
Remind the people about the podcast. Let me know. And so, how's your week been, sir? A couple of weeks.
Well, it's been busy still. I mean, the ship keeps on rolling, but I can't complain. And if I do, nobody listens. Actually, some people do listen. They're going, enough already. Enough already.
Okay.
Enough already.
Well,
I'm not.
Go ahead.
No, I'm not really complaining. I just like to. It's like a steam pressure valve. I just like to bitch about stuff for the effect.
Current rants.
Current rants. That'll be next week.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
current vents. It's current vent.
Yeah, that too.
You know what's really funny is like you named it and you don't even remember what the hell you said.
Well, but I got so many projects going on. I'm not sure.
Yes.
You
Your
know,
life. Someday we're going to do a special on you, the life and times of Psychodoozy Man. How complicated is it? You know?
Okay. Without further ado.
Yeah. Okay. I want to remind everybody that, and I know I got it somewhere here. Podcast, ladies and gentlemen, the podcast, real quick. You know, if you're not able to watch, I appreciate those who watch the show and actually watch it. But if you can't, you can take the Peter G Show on the go, because we are on podcast as well. You can listen to it in your ear while you're at work. And oh, I just lost my guest. Where the hell did he go? And you can listen to it while you're on the show, while you're on the go. And while you're at work, because who the hell wants to be at work? You know, it's boring. And you can just put a earbud in your ear, and you can listen to the podcast. It's available on over 21 different platforms, including Spotify, Amazon. By the way, Pepsi, Amazon podcast picked us up now too. Yes, sir.
Oh,
and
nice.
Yep, and the big one, Apple iTunes podcast or whatever it's called.
iTunes.
So you can listen to the Peter G Show. It's the next best thing to being there watching the show like we watch right now.
Yeah, listen to it in your car, right?
Exactly.
Anytime.
When I'm walking, when I'm doing my walks, I rather you don't have to have your phone open. You can close your phone and it still plays just like your regular music and all that. So it's kind of cool. So
while you're on the go.
Exactly. Go subscribe to that. Yeah, because you know me, Mr. Critiquer. While I'm walking in my sneaker, Anyway, okay, so yeah, tonight we got a great show going on. If there's anything on your mind, Pepsi, to bring to the table, now speak now or forever hold your peace, or at least for the next 40 minutes.
It's all it's all good. It's all good.
It's all good. Okay, so you got nothing.
I just said again. Tired, from flying in from the desert.
Yeah, it's a long trip.
Well, yeah, my arms are pretty tired. So, right.
Yeah. Yes. Well, you've been working out and all that, Adonis.
Yeah, it's not doing any good. That's
you know why? You know why? Because maybe you need some GH boost from eugenics right here.
Of course, that's what's missing.
Your growth hormones are out of whack. Only a few months ago I was a little baby, and now look at me, I'm a grown man.
Yes, of course, that's what's missing. Yes, of course.
Yeah, this gives me a little kick in my, it's it's like strong.
Got a little kick in your step, huh?
Yeah. Everybody needs their ass kicked. So anyway,
nice G boost.
You can get this GH boost from Nugenics at any of your GNC nutritional stores, right there, folks.
Nice.
Just saying.
Just saying. Nice.
All right,
G boost.
listen, let's get the show on the road, because I want to bring Matthew on. And,
let's get the show on the road. It's going to be a great show.
Yeah, you go back to.
Yes, I got to go back to work.
Yeah, puff the magic dragon,
There you go.
Speaking of which, there he goes. Ladies and gentlemen, the mad puffer right there. There he is. It's like, okay, I'll talk to you in a bit.
Okay.
You don't say. All right, let's get this baby rolling. I got questions. All right, without further ado, I want to bring in my new friend and friend of the show. We've been talking for quite some time, but life is busy. And speaking of busy, so is he. But he gave me the time to come on this show to answer questions that I know that are probably on your mind. And that's what we're going to do tonight. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to welcome new friend of the show and mine, and he likes Coors Light. So that's in the screw top aluminum can. It's like, yeah, man. All right. My friend, Matthew Myers. Where are you?
All right. Hey, Peter.
Yes, sir.
How are you?
Hey, if I was any better, I'd have to start taking medication for it.
Right.
Yeah. But Pepsi's already taken enough medication for the rest of the world.
I saw that. Yeah.
Everybody's got that retarded cousin that they have to take care of, It's like, no, he's got it all under control.
I can tell that too.
Yep, it's all. there's professionals and then there's professionals, and we have to leave that to the professionals. But anyway,
True.
how you doing? Everything's cool?
Everything's good.
I want to thank you for coming on to the show, taking the time, because I know that you got to work tonight, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you pushed your schedule around, and you're to give me this time, and I've been after you for quite some time. I've been after you for
months.
Probably since the beginning of the year, I think.
Yeah.
And then you said, it's like, oh, what am I going to talk about? I got nothing. And it's like, I beg to differ.
All right. We'll see.
Okay. So here's the deal. Matthew Myers, you're a California longshoreman. Is that your kind of overall title?
Yeah, I'm a ILW longshoreman, now a marine clerk for the ILWU in Long Beach.
You work on the docks, right? I was gonna focus because I goofed. I thought I didn't know it and last week I said that you were a Port of Los Angeles longshoreman. They're kind of like right down the
same
street.
thing. I can work in either port, but right now I happen to be steady in Long Beach.
Okay, so cool. So my question to you is, or not me, my question. Paul Drew, what happened? Thanks for taking care of the house over there, Paul. I'm sorry, I'm getting comments. I got people, and so. Why don't you do me a favor? Why don't you tell everybody who you are, what you do, because you've been doing it for a long time, from what I can figure. Since you were is that one of your first jobs ever?
It was my second job. My first job, I was a machinist, and then went into longshoring when I was 24. I'm 51 now.
That's pretty strong.
Yeah.
So apparently, you like what you do.
Love it. Best job in the world.
See, I saw that, and we'll get into that in a second. But anyway, why don't you just take a second and tell everybody who you are and what you do and what goes on over there, and then I'll start with the question.
Sure. My name's Matthew Myers. I go by Matt, though. I prefer Matt. Matthews is, I don't know, it's just weird for me. I guess it's an old guy name. But I'm a longshoreman. I've been a longshoreman since 1995. I started out before that as a machinist, then I got a job as a longshoreman mechanic with Local 13, and I did that for 21 years, as long as working out of the hall, working regular longshore jobs as well. So not only can I do the jobs, I can fix machines that they all drive and operate, and anything on that dock, pretty much I could fix as well. So I've been doing it. I did that at Local 13 for 21, 22 years, and now I've been 5 years. I switched over because I got injured so badly. I switched over to based off of my seniority, to the clerking side of the Local 63. There's 3 locals down there. You have 13, 63, which are the clerks, and 94, which are the foremen. And I'm in Local 63, the Marine Clerks Local. That's what I do now.
Gotcha. Because judging by what I see, number one, it seems like you got a pretty secure job. Like that shit never ends, correct?
Well, it has, back when we were 07, 06, around there was barely any work down there. There was no ships coming in. There was a lot of people in, because the economy had tanked and everything. There was backed up inventory here. So none was coming in. And so we don't ship anything out pretty much. So everything that comes in comes through that port. And when there's nothing coming in, you don't work.
Wow. Because you would think that you still need stuff, toilet paper, food, maybe not as much, but you still need stuff. And it's just, there's only one way you can get here. You either grow it here or make it here, or you got to get it. And it seems like everything, unfortunately, comes from the East.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. And that's I got so many questions, and I'm trying to wait and get them in order. But I don't know. So for those of you that are you're the one who makes sure that when these ships come into port, they're loaded down. And I'm going to show a couple of little video clips and all that with all those shipping containers full of stuff, and you keep track of them, which is going to be pretty complex. To me, I think I don't understand it. You said in a previous conversation, it's pretty easy, but we'll get into that too. But the thing is, all these ships are coming in. Back last year, we had the news was all about all these ships docked offshore because they couldn't come in. And I called bullshit on the whole damn deal. What was going on back then?
Well, they couldn't come in because it was COVID. employers and the union got together and said, listen, we can't have instructors inside of these cabs teaching these skill jobs. And so they stopped training. And then what happened is then people started getting COVID, and the skill jobs really, like the crane operators and the top handler operators and all of those guys, were getting sick. And even if you were exposed to it, they would make you take off. I had to take 10 days off. I've never had it, but they made me take 10 days off because someone in the office I worked in had it. So there was a lot of people not able to get down there and work. And so what was happening, it was just they weren't getting the labor for the ships. So the ships had to sit there longer. And then also they had to quarantine for 2 weeks when that all started. They had to quarantine the ship for 2 weeks off the coast, make sure no one had COVID, and then they'd bring it in. So there was a lot of that is really what started that back up.
Yeah, the big scare, because nobody knew what was going on, and we were starting to, you had to believe, because that was at the beginning, we didn't know what really was going on. So,
Right.
things slowed down, but it's quite an operation. I mean,
it is.
I'm fascinated. I mean, the danger of being crushed, period, in my head. It's like, I don't see how you guys keep it down to a minimum, because there's so much weight and so many things that can go wrong over there. What's the risk? I mean, obviously, if it was too bad, it would never be operational. So, but things do happen.
Oh yeah, we've lost at the beginning of the year. We lost a clerk over at my dock. He got run over. There's a lot of moving parts, and like you said, a lot of weight and a lot of machines that are working almost 24 hours a day. So they try to keep the maintenance up. I don't think they hire enough mechanics to do it. I don't think they probably have enough equipment to kind of in and out. But that's my opinion. All of this is always going to be my opinion.
Right.
And then they really, it's up to us, the longshoremen, to really dictate the safety. If we see someone unsafe, don't get in it, don't drive it, don't get around it. And you always got to you really have to keep your head up, because sometimes you just don't get seen, and you got to make sure you see them. It's very dangerous. For a while there, it was the top 5 most deadliest jobs in the world.
I can see that, because again, nobody realizes the size of the containers alone, let alone the weight. Because I saw one of your videos that said, okay, this empty container is only a 20-footer. It weighs about 5,000 pounds, 43 or 4,800 pounds.
Yeah.
But loaded, it could take how many pounds?
Oh, up to 50,000
in a stupid 20-foot container.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of weight.
Yep.
And so let alone a 40-foot container. And these ships, it's amazing on the ships, like there's no living, like there's just a slim little thing down the middle, where's the wheelhouse and all the operations of the ship. The rest is nothing but containers. They can't see shit from, I guess they just go totally from electronics and operate. I mean, what do you see from there? Yeah.
Mostly, they can barely see over those containers. But yeah, they do a lot of it's radar and stuff. I'm not real sure on how they operate the ships. I don't get too much into that.
I get it, but I didn't realize how many ships are out at sea at one time. Even though they still look like little toys in the ocean. But lately, I've been seeing these maps, because people have been talking about there's way more ships just docked over in China. They're not really moving like they should be. But that's a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
a lot of
stuff. It's never ending. It's just a cycle that keeps going over and over and over again.
Wow. Oh, wow. I here's what I want to do. I think let's start with a small video, and I wasn't ready yet, but I think we're going to do this. We're going to look at just a little mini clip of, like, you were up in a crane. Now, those cranes, how many feet in the air do you think those cranes are? Those crane operators operate?
Well, to the cab, it's 200 feet at least.
At least,
yeah,
it's got to be, because it looks like it. I don't know. That's to me a
220 feet. Yeah, they're up there.
Because you're also dealing with the ships, high tide and low tide,
all the time. A lot of times we can't work it because, one, we've taken the weight off the ship and now it's risen, and then the high tide comes in and we don't. They don't make cranes that high.
But But here's what gets me. It's like there's got to be a point where like there's a screw up, and those cranes they can't raise and lower, so they just hang. They hover when that ship is in dock. It's underneath those cranes. Is there ever been times where it's like slamming the cranes?
No, because the cranes will boom up. They boom them up. Yeah.
Okay.
They can do a 45-degree boom, and they can do a 90. So that's how they move them back and forth around those houses and stuff on the ship.
Those things are massive.
Massive.
I mean, it doesn't. Again, it's like God forbid, and I've seen some. I saw one in China or Thailand or Taiwan where a crane just collapsed.
Yeah, the ship hit it.
Yeah, and it's like, and whoever's in that underneath of that, if there's somebody in there, it's like I go, if he was in there, there was no way.
Yeah, I don't think there was anyone in it.
Oh, that's a good thing.
Yeah. Even if you're under it, you're a goner.
Again, I just did if something goes wrong, it's going to be a big wrong. There's not going to be a small. Here, so let's watch this. This one clip is it's just the ship and crane, just to try to give you, here's the ship. You went up into one of your buddy's cranes, and he's kind of doing his thing. And again, and we'll talk about it after this clip is over, because I got questions. It just seems fascinating how these things maneuver and the pinpoint preciseness of it. But let's just check that out real quick, and then we'll come back to it. So here we go. Let me get the right one.
All right, here's a ship that just docked. It's fully loaded, 14,000 TEU ship. You can see how low that thing is into the water there compared to this ship that's been here 2 days. Look how high up out of the water that is. Big difference.
Are missing pigtails and stuff.
You can see it's red and green lights that let us know when he's locked and unlocked. Why they don't drop them.
Like that truck right there, I know that's the boss, but he's in a bad spot right there. He really shouldn't be in the.
Oh yeah.
When you're trying to land him.
You're looking out for a lot more than just that can, huh?
Yeah, it throws you off. Like when you're like, you're almost like on autopilot, and then something happens, it comes up, it throws off your concentration a little bit.
Here we are working crane 5. They're working the back reach of this crane today because we got 6 cranes on this ship tonight. The driver, crane operator, will bring out that container, bring it down, and he's got to float it right there. Slows it down, floats it, smooth, drops it on. And you got the swingman up front. They let the driver know where to stop. Let them know when the crane driver's clear. Plus, they'll take those cones that we talked about that lock the containers to each other off the fronts and back. These guys do a lot of work. And off he goes.
And off he goes.
Off he goes.
I don't understand the precision of like how they line the truck up, because the crane, it seems to me like there's not number one, it's on cables. Mm-hmm. How is it not swinging wind?
He catches that swing. That's what makes it a good operator. That thing will come out. I've operated those, and it's almost, if you're a good operator, you're going to be able to catch that swing, and you won't even see it. Me, I couldn't. I mean, you can knock things off the ship, and you really could. I mean, that guy was good. That last one that we saw, I mean, he was really good.
There's a lot of weight, and momentum. And
that's 70,000 pounds right there.
Yeah, because even when you're moving from the ship to the truck, I mean, it starts momentum. And with thousands of pounds, there's a equal reaction against when you're stopping.
Right.
The thing is still moving. And how do they line the trucks up underneath to make it? Because you don't have a left and right. You only have down and up, right?
Well, it moves in one spot. And if you saw, there was the people down there, the swingmen down there.
Yeah,
they're stopping the truck. They have a mark, and so the UTR driver, the truck driver, is watching him, and when he tells him to stop, so that swingman is basically stopping him, so that the crane operator doesn't have to worry about that. It's the swingman doing it.
It just seems to get the pins to get the 4 corners. Now I know on those trucks it's just a basket that it kind of
they call it a bomb cart. That way they don't have to be precision.
Right.
In the old days when I started, it was all chassis under the hook. And so those guys had to land those four corners. It was a big
That's
deal.
what I'm saying. How do you get so precise with the tractor trailer bottoms? I mean, it's pretty fascinating.
They're absolutely amazing. Some of those operators, just amazing.
I would think that those crane operators, I mean, that takes a lot of skill and
Mhm.
time. Do these guys kind of wear out after a while because they're constant focus and because you're way up there. Does it take a toll on these guys, or is it
And
actually
it takes a toll on their back. I don't know if you saw, but the one guy was
looking down?
You're
You're looking
doing
down.
that, all the time. But most of those guys love their job, so it's hard to get them out of there.
Well, that's cool. I imagine they make a pretty good living.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's not everybody's. I want to play crane operator.
Well, a lot of people can't do it either because a lot of people fell out of it, and a lot of people, especially those hammerheads over the ships, that's a rare breed there. A lot of them just like to stay in the yards and on the transtainers.
Transtainer. Well, I'm glad that you brought that up because I saw that word transtainer. I'm glad that you guys support the trans communities to a certain,
Right.
because a transtainer. What's the difference? I mean, that crane basically does the same, right?
They're called RTGs. We call them transtainers. You got different slang at different ports and different areas of the world, but they run on tires, and they go back and forth, and that's what delivers the cans, the containers to the outside truckers. They have those big long piles for local containers for the truckers to get, and the transtainer, the RTG, goes up and down that and picks them out that way.
I didn't notice when I was going through all your videos on TikTok. You have a good handful of all this stuff, but I didn't realize that those cranes were on tires. I did not see that.
Yeah.
Then it's very movable, I guess. They can go wherever
they
they
can
want.
move him, and they can move them all over the yard wherever they need them.
Gotcha. Because the ones on the ships, they're on tracks, correct?
Yeah, they're on like train tracks.
Wow. And so they go one direction and two directions, right or left, and
right or left. Yeah.
Right. I would think that you were talking about mechanics and things like that. You got trucks, you have cranes, there's so many pieces. You would have to have a large mechanical operation system. I mean, ship breaks down, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, they have that's who fixes the chassis. That's who fixes the refrigerated containers. There's mechanics for the cranes. There's mechanics for the containers. There's a lot of them there, but I think they're not. I don't think they have enough of them, to be quite honest with you.
No, I doubt it. Do you guys have a lot of stuff that's like off to the side, being you're constantly
always.
And they're probably trying to save money too. I mean, everybody.
No one makes money off a mechanic. It's a necessary evil, but you can't make money from someone fixing your stuff. They don't quite understand that if the stuff's running, it's making you money. It doesn't quite compute that way.
I can imagine it could probably drive you nuts at times because you go, God, I finally had another crane going or something like that. And the big wigs are looking at it, differently. Just work harder, work faster.
Yeah.
No, I get it. I've been around enough to understand that unfortunate mindset. Okay, so the accidents. You said that the things happen, but obviously, I mean, through the course of do you guys have to constantly go through training courses and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. They train us in everything, whatever our seniority brings us up to. We can train for it. And if we don't use that training within 3 years, they drop it off and you have to retest. But it's pretty intense. I wouldn't say intense, but they keep you up on it. They keep you up on the training and all of that. So you're not just out there winging it.
Gotcha. Here's the thing. How many on your typical, like I know that on one of these videos, it says there's like 14,000 containers on a ship or something like that.
Yeah. Like 20 foot.
Okay. Yeah. In my mind, how the hell do you keep track of them? I know that they have RF tags, and you said it's easy, and the minute it touches, the computer already knows what it is and this and that. My question is, when you're unloading and you got a yard full of stuff, how do you know when this truck pulls up? Because you got hundreds of trucks lined up waiting to go daily. Hopefully, I think I got a little bit of that too. And But how do you know the box that needs to go on that truck isn't on the bottom of the pile? I mean, how do you meticulously line this stuff up? Do truckers just receive whatever they receive
No.
and they go? How does that work? That seems crazy as
The
hell.
truckers have RFIDs in them. They have them as well. So
Yeah,
when we bring them into the terminal,
yeah.
everything gets matched up to their RFID. The container they're bringing in, the container they're taking out. So it all gets. They get a ticket. They know where to go. And then there's actually a computer in the translator as well, and that tells the operator which can to dig out, which one he needs, puts it on there. And when it gets loaded on there, the RFID reads that as well.
I mean, do they have to go fishing for it? Like, it's like, oh shit, this truck, I got to move 3 boxes to get to the one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They do.
Because
Sometimes they got to move 4.
That takes time.
It does take time.
And you're telling because I also saw on some of your videos where these truckers, they're doing traffic jams, like they're cutting in front of each other.
Yeah,
it's stupid.
It's stupid how that works. They used to have clerks out there, and they would line the truckers up, and we'd line them up, and we'd use chalk, and we'd write down what spot they're in, and then where the container is in that spot, top, middle, bottom, whatever, and then the translator would come down the row, work all the way down the row, and he'd see the chalk mark. He'd pull out whatever he needs, and they'd go. And then we bring in a whole new line of trucks and do it that way. Well, they got rid of those clerks. And so now it's a free-for-all out there. And so one guy could be there for 5 hours waiting for his can. Well, guys just keep cutting them off, and it's ridiculous.
How does that make sense?
And they don't have to pay for clerks. It's the bottom line.
But it's got to cost. If the trucks are sitting there for all those hours, I mean, timing.
They're still getting 18 to 2,200 containers out of there in the night.
That's a lot, and that's just on your port.
That's on my dock. Yeah.
Wow. Again, because for those of you who don't, I mean, I only got to have a few videos in this and that, but you can, and I'll show you how, you can go to Matt's TikTok, and it's just, to me, if you want to know on the things that are going on daily, so we can have food, so we can have products and things like that, it's pretty fascinating. And I that's why I had you on the show, or wanted to have you on the show, because I don't think people understand that to get stuff to Walmart, or it's not just boom, here it is.
Yeah, no, they don't just show up there.
It's kind of complicated. And then once it gets on those trucks are taking that stuff to who knows where the hell they're taking it to, and on trains, which we'll talk about trains towards the end, because this is the current problem situation. But empty, I want to tell you, because I wanted to buy an empty shipping container, and back about 3-4 years ago, the thing was, for years, there's more stuff coming from China, therefore leaving a bunch more than are going back to China, therefore leaving a bunch of empty shipping containers here, and people sell those agents sell the shipping containers to to whoever wants to buy a container to use as a shed or an enclosure or whatever. Lately, these past 2 or 3 years, all of a sudden I'm finding out, because the price went up more than double on shipping containers, that they're taking all these containers now, more of them, and sending them back to China. Why is that? Am I wrong?
Those ships always go back almost completely empty or completely full with empty containers. They always have. I mean, I don't know if we're storing more or not, but they're going back empty containers, probably 90%, 80%.
Well, they need them, but there was a point where there was so much more coming to the United States than going. I don't know. All I know is I was told that, again, there was an excess of containers that still weren't going back. Therefore, the price was fairly reasonable if you wanted to buy one, because they was just cheaper to just sell one and let them make new ones or whatever. And now there's not enough being left behind to where the price over.
That's not true.
No,
that's not true. No, we got too many empties.
Well, then I'm going to talk to the guy that I've been talking to, because I'm telling you, at one point for a 20-foot one trip, because the price goes for how old the container is.
Yeah.
And the one trips were about $1,500, $2,000. Now they're about $4,500 to $5,000.
Yeah, they've been that way for a while. I've seen those prices go up.
And
So
and I need one. I want one for storage.
Right.
And the thing is, I just can't see spending I mean, I can actually, because if you go to Home Depot to buy a barn, they're $5,000 for this cheap particle board. Anyway, but it just bugs me because it wasn't too long ago. I'm going, why is there a almost double?
I think there's a bigger demand for them. People are making houses out of them. People are really finding out they can do a lot of things like you do with storage. I think I think it's just a bigger demand. I get asked a lot, thousands and thousands of times on my TikTok, where can I buy those? So there's a lot of people out there trying to buy them.
Yeah, I mean, I want mine for the Gulf Coast, down in the south, and so I don't know what comes into those ports over there, but it just kind of blew my mind. I'm going, I don't know if it's a racket, and some people were blaming it on the current administration sending more stuff back. I don't know.
No, we're not sending anything back.
Wow. All right, here's something for you. And this was last year. There was this shortage on wood, and people were building supplies. A sheet of plywood went up to the price of gold.
That. Yeah.
Okay. So let me play this real quick video, and then we'll talk about it, because this video you did was a year, maybe about a year ago, last fall, and it's about wood, and because all we knew was, God bless, if you need to buy building supplies or build something, the price just quadrupled.
Yeah.
So here's this quick video. It's only like a 10-second video.
Yeah, by the way, this is down here at the docks. There's no wood shortage anywhere. This thing's been pumped full of wood day one.
I didn't get that at all. I didn't understand. Maybe it has something to do with the north, but down there, those things were getting loaded. Those go on trains, so I don't know where they were taking them, but that trains and trucks, that wood goes out of, and it's always there. It's never empty.
Again, is it propaganda? Are they just trying to? There's so much havoc going on with the world we're living in right now. Anyway, it's like you don't know who to believe and what to believe. But all I knew is, because I had a friend of mine, he was building something at the time when all this went to hell, and it's taken him a year to get windows. Just crazy shit like that.
Well, that's probably because it was stuck out in the ocean.
Possibly, but is wood too, I guess. If the wood's coming in from the port, where is it coming from?
Right. Yeah, but that's its own dock. We on our dock, you have Walmarts and Targets and smaller companies, even Harley Davidson's, and a ton of companies coming in there. The wood is just their own dock. It's wood only, so they don't back anything up.
Wow. See, again, I love to call bullshit on a lot of this stuff. But it doesn't matter. What's it going to do? Unless you get enough people to raise hell to go, okay, your facade, it's all sitting right there. Please explain.
Right. I saw a lot of it. I didn't get a lot of it. I couldn't understand it because I was seeing it firsthand. I know exactly what was happening, and what some of the stuff that was said was happening certainly wasn't.
And this is why we have to clarify, because there was a time when you could watch the news and kind of believe what they had to say, and now I question everything. I just do. I mean, I don't want to be that guy, but
I don't even watch the news. That's
okay. Yeah, I hear you, because this is what's but that's the thing, though. But you kind of got to know where to gauge what to kind of believe and not believe, or otherwise, then you don't know nothing. But it is driving me crazy. Let's switch over here gears a little bit, because we touched on safety, and I want to talk about safety again, because I don't think people understand the massive amount of, really, when you're talking safety, what goes on with your thing. Here's a quick little video, and then we'll touch on it.
We had a lucky member tonight. I guess you could call it lucky. She walked away with this with a broken wrist. This job is dangerous. Here's that truck from the other night. The pictures I showed you. The top handler. Boy, oh boy, that's scary stuff. Scary, scary. She got lucky. See how low it is to the ground.
was just a truck getting run over by, like, what do
The
you call
top
it?
handler.
A top handler. That's like a forklift, but it's custom for the way
Yeah,
it
it's
picks up.
humongous. Yeah, those lift 80,000 pounds, six containers high.
I've
They're
seen some
a lot of
pictures
weight.
of that.
Yeah,
It seems, how the hell do you get the balance when you're 60 feet in the air trying to lift the box off?
counterweights.
I get it, but
Right.
it
Doesn't
it
make
must-
sense.
it's just massive. And here you have, like, how that truck, which was a mid-sized truck, looked like just a crumbled toy. The wheels alone just ran on top of it and crushed
Yeah,
it.
it went right up. It barely got stopped at the cab there. I mean, that was like he never saw her.
He didn't see her.
He just didn't see her. They have those big beams, and you just can't see sometimes.
Right. So everybody's got to watch out for everybody, but
Definitely
she,
do.
because her back was to that thing.
Yeah,
The boxes, the you call them cans, the containers. That's doc talk. And, hey, how about
Yeah,
them
right.
cans? Yeah, nice cans. So you've seen some that are like crushed. What's the loss? Like the container loss, the shipping losses for these merchants who are shipping something. I mean, how many boxes get destroyed? I mean, we've seen them I've seen them out to sea where they've like come off the ship and gone and just floating in the ocean. But
yeah.
when they're at the dock and they get crunched somehow swinging or taken. I saw one you had that a truck took a sharp turn and took out the box. How often is that? That's got to be a daily event.
It's not daily, surprisingly, but because of the professionalism and their training, and it used to happen a lot more than it does now. But I mean, it's still something happens, at least once a month, something like that. And as far as the containers go and what's in them, they'll try to salvage what's in them, but I think insurance just covers all of that.
Yeah, it's just got to be a bitch. The shit comes all the way from across the ocean, and
Right.
especially if they're cars or because I know people that ship cars and all that kind of
I used
stuff.
to drive the cars off the ships. I've done that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
what they're not in containers.
No, they're container. They're auto ships. They just have
auto. Yeah, I was talking about people who import or export.
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah. I've seen
there's
that. Yeah.
There's a lot of that, and they put them in a container 2 at a time.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they strap them in or they just sit there on top of from the weight, but I can see that. And you're looking at some of these containers that are just crushed. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
there goes that was my Mercedes.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That happens.
No, I know it happens, but again, you're right. Professionalism, and you don't want that to happen because otherwise you'd be out of business if it happened too much.
Right.
But I want to keep moving because man, time is just blowing by, and I still got a million questions. But so lately, up to date right now, we've got the biggest problem of we're hearing about all these trains. There's not enough diesel fuel being delivered across the country for truckers, and then we're going to get into the trucking end of it too, because this is stupid in California too. But so trains, a lot of your product that comes off of those ships either goes by truck or by train. And I want to play a quick video, and then we'll discuss all this about that end of it. And this is currently going on right now.
All right, let's talk about the supply chain issue. A lot of people aren't talking about. It's a problem with the rails right now. I know they've been negotiating a contract since 2019. And one of the problems we're having now is getting cars in here. The load. So the rail cargo here is getting stuck on dock. All of these tracks should have rail cars on them, and they don't. This is something you don't see that often. You can see all these empty tracks. We can't load up that rail cargo. That's really going to mess up the supply chain, because that goes all the way mid-country down south. Well, here's the Maersk Eindhoven. It's been here since the 26th. It's getting bad down here, especially with these rails that we can't load. Still don't have rail cars. This ship should have been out of here probably tomorrow. It's going to be here probably close to another week. We can't put as many cranes on there because we can't get the cargo off, because there's too much cargo for the rails backing up here, because we can't get cars. The rail's not even working tonight because we don't have the cars to put the cargo on. It's affecting the other ships as well. And it's affecting the local rails. Barely any trucks in here taking anything out for the local rails as well. So it's getting pretty messy down here. Not to mention the AB5 the truckers are going to have to deal with. It can get real ugly.
Yep. What the hell? What is now? Again, I've been hearing all kinds of things with the trains politically. You know, the Pacific, Union Pacific is owned by Black Rocks and all these people, and there's some things purposely taking us on a downward scale. But it seems like when you're loading up trains like that, and you're telling me that all those rails are supposed to be full.
Yeah.
I mean, how often is like that whole row of train being loaded? How many? Once a day? Twice a day?
Twice a day. One done at daytime, and then one time at night.
Miles of trains.
Yeah. We'll do every one of those tracks on the first shift, and they'll do all those same tracks again on the second shift. Two different trains.
That's amazing.
Oh, the rail personnel, they know how to move, and I did that for about a year and a half. I like doing the rails, but
how do they get the boxes though? The boxes are off to the side. If you got train after train side by side, how do they get in there?
They have the top handler that goes in between them, so that top, it's tight, but they'll just work, and then the clerk, like I would communicate to them what car, what spot, because you have to decide. You have to have the heavier can on the bottom. You can't put a heavy can on top, or it'll come off during transit. So there's a lot of stuff that goes into those trains. But I mean,
I'm sure they learned through the years.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's like a couple of screw ups, and you say, "Oh yeah, we can't do that no more." Like that.
Right.
Wow. Okay. So what's this AB5? The trucks. I mean, California's been having nothing but problems with California's restrictions and all this bullshit that's going on. What's going on now?
AB5 is, I think they started that for the Uber and the Lyft drivers, and now it's working its way to the truckers where they can't be independent. They have to work for a company. I haven't really read too much into it, but it's just there's going to be a lot of those guys are going to be, because they all bought their own trucks and they work independently, and I think they make a little bit more that way. I can't speak too much on that because the whole trucker deal down there is just a mess anyway, and it has been. So this is not going to help.
I want to back it up because we had big problems because California passed a law that their emissions control and everything, each tractor trailer had to be a 2016 or newer.
Yeah.
To be in California to pass emissions.
Right.
And so that killed a certain percentage of trucks that could not come on into California. So they were taking cargo with some of the newer trucks and then taking them to the state line.
Yeah.
But what a clusterfuck that had to be.
Oh yeah. It's never ending with this green shit. It's ridiculous. They're talking about giving grants now to these companies to put green vehicles on the dock. Well, we've tried that before. They're garbage.
Why?
They don't work. None of the stuff works right. I mean, we have the filters and we have the DEF and all that stuff for for the trucks that we have now, but you just can't go wrong with diesel, I don't think.
See, I think that's the big problem. It's like everybody, they put that notion in your head. It's like, well, just go electric. It's like, it sounds like a great idea, but there's no strength in what they just put that notion and they drop that seed and everybody just bought into it. And they don't realize that it's only like 1% of what's going on. In California alone, they're like canning, we're having meltdowns with the electricity, and shutdowns and, what do you call
brownouts and
blackouts.
Yeah.
And what, God forbid, if everybody was on the grid, it'd be impossible. They don't, but they planted that seed and everybody's like going green, yet you don't see the rail cars with the car after car of coal that's making the green electricity.
Right. Yep.
Wow. Well, the poor truckers, I mean, it really has to be hurting that whole deal, which then hurts the process of the supply and demand.
Right.
Because you can't get the stuff out fast enough.
Right. That's right. And a lot of those guys also take it to the off-dock rails. So, that LA has a big one. And so a lot of those guys are just running from there to the ports, and they're going to lose out as well.
Yeah, it's just too much back and forth, too much time switching. Last thing I want to talk about for the whole shipping thing real quick, because I noticed there was some other guy that I kind of caught too, but I guess you guys don't have it. It must be at the Port of LA. Automation.
Yeah, it's across the little
Robot.
across the bay from me. Yeah,
the trucks move all by themselves. Tell me about everything that moves by themselves.
those are all RFID as well. Everything moves. I think the one you're talking about is LBCT, and it's right across. So it's in Long Beach. That's probably the best automated one there is. But the transtainers are all automated. There's no operators in them. The bomb carts are all automated. The only thing that really, I think it has humans in it is the cranes for the ship. Other than that, it's, pretty robotic.
That's fascinating, though. I mean, they're stacking containers automated. They're off the ship.
Yeah.
They're those trucks with no cabs are moving and nobody's crashing into each other. But yet a Tesla, which is because you're, it really we're not ready for that ship. But I guess it's a controlled environment, but still,
Yeah,
that's a lot. That's
one of those trucks caught on fire the other day. I mean, it messed up everything. They have lithium batteries in them. It got too hot. It caught fire. It burned the container. It burned a bomb cart, and it burned whatever was in the ground that they run off of. So, good luck with that. And things are going to be automated. It's just going to happen. It's nothing we can do about it.
Do you see it coming to your dock?
Oh, they're already talking about it. They're trying to get approved already for it.
So that's going to eliminate jobs, or it's going to create different types of jobs?
No, it's going to eliminate jobs. It'll eliminate a lot of jobs. UTR drivers, clerks. They've already gone after the clerks a lot where I am. Like I said, they have. That's why the truckers run wild, because they don't need those clerks out there. And
Apparently they do.
Yeah, it'd be a lot nicer, but so I mean, it's gonna. I think the future there is better know how to fix things and repair computers.
Wow. All right. I could have played videos, and that was the problem I had. Was there were so many different types of videos I wanted to show to be example for people, but I can't. And I completely forgot for you today. The one thing I want to do is how people could see your videos. And I'll damn it, because you got a lot of TikTok videos that I thought was interesting, because that's how I found you. And banners. Tell me real quick how on TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
How people can find you.
It's just Matthew Myers 13.
Hang on, I'm making it right now.
All right.
I should have done that. Matthew Myers 13 on TikTok. Let's see if that'll work. You can find it right there. Add banner. See if this will work.
That looks good.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'm telling you that if you want to see what Matt does and how it all works and operates, I think it's pretty damn interesting. That's where you can find it, because TikTok is you seem to, I was kind of cool because it was just out of the ordinary. Even though you didn't think you had much to give, I thought you had a lot to give.
I appreciate that.
No, I mean, honestly, it's not your average everyday deal. And I can see that, that's hard work for a lot, but to love your work, and I guess you're out by the water all the time, and there's something about the ocean to me that's priceless, period. Because I kind of grew up around coasts all my life, and so I think it's important. But you actually love what you do, and and God, when I'm pretty sure you'll probably have a pretty decent retirement one day when you decide to
I hope so. Out. I'm looking forward to that as well.
Yeah, well, yeah,
I'm beat up.
Well, you're beat up, but you claim you love what you're doing, so that speaks a lot too, and that's a big deal, because a lot of people, to me, it's like life is not worth living if you're getting up every day and just hating what the hell's going on in your life. I mean, and I'm not saying you should check out or anything like that, but you just need to figure something out, because life is short. I mean, we just find as we're getting older, number one, we're not as bulletproof, and time just starts moving a lot quicker, or at least
does.
It does.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I want to touch on something else before we go, and this is pretty deep and heartfelt. But in my conversation with you, we had a conversation in which, again, this is going to be a complete 180, and welcome to my show.
All right.
As I spoke to you, not only are you, you're not an old guy. In today's day and age, compared to like a 20-year-old, sure, somebody might look at you and say, "Hey, old guy," but what'd you say? You're 51?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Not old, but you were married for a long time, from what I can tell.
Yeah, 26 and a half years.
That's a long time, and so you get a gold star on that. How many kids do you have?
4.
4 kids, and what's their ages?
You got 27, you have 25, 21, and 20. 3 daughters, and the son's the youngest.
That's pretty strong. It really is, because nowadays everybody's very 15 minutes and doesn't last, and so you're married, multiple decades, and happily, I would imagine. Otherwise, you've been married, correct?
Right.
Okay. Then one day, your wife finds out she has ALS.
Yeah.
Lou Gehrig's disease.
Yep.
Muscular dystrophy. A lot of people that don't understand this. Why don't you explain that disease real quick?
ALS is a motor neuron disease that affects basically your nerve endings, and they call it a coffin disease because what happens is all your muscles start dying. You don't get any signals to your muscles, so they end up dying. You end up not walking. You end up not hugging. You end up at one point probably not talking anymore because it gets your vocal cords, and eventually it gets to your lungs and it kills you one way or another. It's 100% fatal, and it's the worst thing I've ever seen in my life, and I've been around some pretty ugly stuff.
Yeah, and that's just a matter of time. I've learned, because again, I told you I had a little bit more than a handful of people. Not everybody gets it. It's not as common, but it's very common. And and the thing is, I've had some people who've lasted a long time, because you're right, it's muscular dystrophy. You lose your ability. I had a girl that she started slurring in her speech, and then she couldn't talk, and she didn't know what it was. But then again, one of my old sound
that's
engineers,
bulbar. They call it bulbar ALS because it starts there.
It starts there, and then before long, your bed, after maybe months or years, you're bedridden, and then tracheotomy time, and because even your heart is a muscle to breathe, a muscle. And I've lost so many people in different ways with like some hung in there longer, but you're bedridden. You can't do anything, but you're living, and you'll take it because you're living.
Yeah.
And I had one friend who went kind of quick once he had it, because it affected his respiratory system quicker than his muscles. Right. And when he finally got to hospice, he died relatively quickly, because if you can't breathe or your heart doesn't want to pump, you can't live. But it's heart-wrenching. You had your kids go through all this. And then sadly, on December 20th of 2020, you lost your wife to ALS.
Yes.
How old was she?
51. 51 years old. And the average lifespan with ALS is 3 to 5 years. And I don't think she quite made it even 3 years. So it got through her pretty quickly. And we did a lot of things and a lot of clinical trials. And I think she just got placeboed. And so it was awful.
At that point, your kids, the reality of all this hitting in, how did they handle it?
I think we all could have probably handled it a little bit better. I think it's been really tough on the kids. I think,
sure.
And me too. I think I focused on just keeping her happy, I guess, and letting her know she was loved. There, in those last couple of years, I'm going to make sure that maybe kind of just didn't pay much more attention to anybody but that, and I think that didn't help. But you don't know what to do in those situations. You're just thinking about the woman you love, and making sure she knows she's loved and taken care of.
I get it, and it's a tough one. And your kids, it's a hole that you cannot fill, when it's all said and done, and it's a tough one. And again, I'm getting people writing in about Lose Now. I'm getting people writing in about this because we switch gear. This is a whole show within itself. And someday maybe I'll have you back and I'll feature and we'll talk about this again because you can never talk about this stuff enough to bring it. Because no matter what you did, no matter how much you wanted to do it, it is what it is.
Yeah.
And
hopeless. You know she's getting. You know the end's coming. There's no cure.
Yeah.
And it's just
in a way, you're kind of preparing. You have time because it's not like a sudden death. Like one day you walk out the door and you never come home. But it does. I mean, how do you? I mean, there's no justification. It doesn't make it better. Maybe kind of a little bit. You're luckier because you had time, but it's never enough time. Especially, most people want to kill each other. You had a successful marriage and you got 4 kids, and it is, again, it doesn't make it right. But I guess there's another plan somewhere else that we don't understand. But it's a tough one. ALS is a tough one, and my heart goes out to you and your family. And again, that's a whole nother subject that I guess we'll have to. And I would, because I don't think enough people understand. And even if you do understand it, years ago there was the ice bucket challenge and all that, and that was great. But
it wasn't because the ALS Association hadn't spent that money. They're sitting on their money and they're paying themselves. I can go into the ALS Association.
Well, then we will.
It's disgusting.
It is disgusting, just like Black Lives Matter, and I don't even want to open up that can of worms too. But everybody thinks they're doing a good thing because the title sounds good.
Yeah.
But really, what's going on, I think, is again, people are blinded. They only go by the first couple of sentences that they talk about, and it's a bitch. And again, my heart goes out to you and your family. And again,
thank you.
You just learn to live with it, but you'll never get over it. I mean, and I understand. Are you, and you're a younger guy now. It's like, what do you do? So when you talk to me real quick, it's like, are you supposed to live the rest of your life by yourself, or No,
I actually have met someone wonderful. I've been lucky. I've been blessed that way.
Okay, but you told me that, but then you also told me at the same time that your kids have a mother, and it's like, so there's like conflict because they understand, but they don't understand.
Right. I think it's just something that I guess we're just gonna have to talk about more, and try to be adult about it.
But all your kids, I mean, are all your kids still at the house, or do they live out?
No, just my son. Just my son.
How are you with all your kids? Are everybody still under, and understand? I understand people are busy. Kids get their own.
Right. I know some are upset, and I have a granddaughter I don't see as much as I want to, and so I have to work on that relationship as well.
Are they pissed because of now that you're seeing somebody? That's the whole premise.
Some are, some aren't. I don't know. I think they're just angry at all of it, and I really don't blame them.
Wow.
Well, for their anger.
Why?
I don't know.
Okay. Again, this is a show within itself. Listen, all I can tell you is don't ever stop. I mean, I'm not Monday morning quarterbacking, but love and life is quick, and don't miss those days. And the mind develops. You just they're in their 20s. I mean, think about when you were in your 20s compared to. You look at things a lot different. So if you have to take that extra step to go, come on, one day we're here, one day we're gone.
Yeah, I know. I've tried to talk to them about that.
Well,
they're feisty.
Don't stop.
I'm not. I won't.
Don't stop. All right. I look. I didn't mean to open up this wound, but you know what I mean.
Well, like I said, I want people to know about this disease. People just don't know. They hear Lou Gehrig and Ice Bucket Challenge, and that's all they know.
Yeah,
they don't really know how bad it is.
It sounds like a fun thing. Oh, you're dumping cold ice on me. And you know what? One day, I'm telling you, we will talk about this in full detail again, because you can never stop. There's always somebody more that's going to catch on, that needs to catch on, to talk about this stuff. But in the meantime, I appreciate you coming on and not only talking about the shipping whole thing, but this is really personal, and this is how to me, this show thrives on, we're all just people and life happens, good and bad, and we just need to talk about these things because you're not alone. You're not the only one this has happened to. This is happening with people every day to this day, and we'll keep on. And sharing stories, I think, is a really big deal and needs to happen.
Yeah.
Wow. All right.
Thank you, Peter. I appreciate it.
All right. Listen, Matt Myers. You can find Matt Myers, and I won't call you Matthew anymore, but it was on your TikTok, Matthew.
Right.
And I think I'd be offending you by calling you Matt. I'd rather call you Matt. But
Yeah, that's great. That's what I go
all right,
by.
so here's the deal. You can find Matt Myers on TikTok because that's his main hub, talking about all the shipping container stuff and all that at Matthew Myers 13 on TikTok. Just go find him. And see, a lot of people are thanking you for talking about what we just talked about, even though I know it wasn't the most pleasant thing to talk about. But and this show keeps on giving, and that's the beauty of it. It's on demand. You can find it forever after the show is over on YouTubes and Facebooks and Instagrams, LinkedIn's, TikToks, all the above, and BitChute, Rumbles, all this kind of stuff. It's going to be there. So you did a good thing, and I appreciate you doing this because a lot of people don't want to get in deep. And I just feel like you're not just only opening up and helping yourself, you're helping others. So I deeply appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you, Peter.
Right.
I appreciate it very much.
All right. Well, that's the cool thing. All right, ladies and gentlemen, my new friend, Matt Myers, right here. And again, find him on TikTok at Matthew Myers 13. And he's got a million videos on the shipping container stuff and some personal stuff too. You put in a few of your home stuff, like your new lighting system over the pool.
You like that?
I
was just impressed with I put hooks in the tree. I just didn't know what to do.
I didn't think there was anything wrong with that. I think that would have been the practical thing to do. That tree's not going nowhere.
Nuh-uh.
And I don't think you're going to kill it with putting a hook in it.
I don't think so.
I know you're not going to. So anyway, I appreciate your time, and I know you got to go to work tonight. And again, I love you for doing this show, and we'll talk in the future. All right.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
All right, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. One more time, Matt Myers, and find him on TikTok and let him know you saw the show, or just give him a big thumbs up and saying, "Hey, I saw you and appreciate you." All right, there you go, buddy. I'll see you later.
All right.
There you go. I could have done a whole show on talking about the heavy stuff, the ALS, and I mean, because it's important. I think it's important. Thanks, Michael Schwartz. Michael Schwartz, appreciate you being on the show. It is heartbreaking, but it happens every day. I mean, people walk out their doors and don't come home. There's so many things, and I don't want to be the ultra bummer, but when it comes to love, I think love is the key. I think that there's no other thing. I think as I'm growing older now, there's nothing else more important than love. And I will continue to say that. The whole reason I do this show is for the love of doing this show, for the love of talking about these things that, there's a lot of people that don't know. And so the people that do know that are on this show to share it, even though, again, I hit him in the heart and I hate it. But I love it because he was willing to share this stuff because you need to know. So God bless him and his family for, I wish him the best that he can, some of his kids get upset because, again, he's a relatively younger man when you look at it at our age. And what's he going to do? Live his life by himself for the rest of his life? I mean, there's nothing he can change. He can't bring that woman back regardless of how successful. And he was successful in marriage, which is a far and few between nowadays. It doesn't happen. People quit after 15 minutes. One bump in the road and they're out. But that's how it works. My name is Peter G. I want to thank everybody for tuning into the Peter G Show. I'm overtime as always, just by a few minutes. Real quick. Overtime, yeah. I'm being reminded. I want to thank you, but I want to also invite you once again, the podcast. If you can't watch the show physically with your eyes, go to the podcast. You can listen to it in the car. You can listen to it while you're working. Just Google Peter G Show Podcast. You'll find it somewhere. Amazon Podcast, Apple iTunes Podcast, Spotify. There's 21 of them so far. But I urge you to do that. Truly thank you for tuning in every week and watching this show. We'll be here next week like clockwork, God willing, right here, the Peter G Show. And next week it's going to be Pepsi and myself. Might open up the phone lines. Current events. This is the one time of the month where I get to take a lot of stuff that really ticks me off or things that I feel we need to talk about, and we talk about them right here. Some people will like it, and sadly, some people won't. The one thing I've learned is you can't please everybody, but can't we all just get along? We should. We should be able to discuss things. Oh, let me take all of that too. We should be able to discuss things and not start unfriending people. We shouldn't be able to do that. But anyway, it is what it is. I hope that people have enough common sense. Nowadays, it's like if you don't like something, you just wipe them out of your life, and that's shame on you, okay? Especially if you have a history with people. There's a lot more good than there is some confusion and controversy, because that's what's happening. They're, specifically designing everything to where they were pairing up against each other, and it's sad. But that's, again, I hope we can all find out the reasoning behind this. If you stick with it and you hang in there, it all comes together. That's it. My name is Peter G. I want to thank you for watching Life with Peter G, the Peter G Show, right here. And I will see you next week, right here. And as always, I love you guys. I do. Love is the key. Peace out.
Peter G Show, Peter G Show, Divorce Dad.